Doctor fired for saving a homeless man's life, but they had no idea who he really was. Emma was a talented and dedicated surgeon whose brilliance in the operating room contrasted sharply with the suffocating expectations of her mother. At 32, she had chosen medicine, a passion she had nurtured since her teenage years, against her mother's wish that she take over the family's businesses. Emma had an altruistic spirit, believed in the transformative power of medicine, and above all loved saving lives. The St. Raphael Hospital, where Emma worked, was a center of excellence, but also a place where internal politics and power plays were as sharp as the scalpels. The hospital director, David, was an ambitious man, more concerned with prestige than with patient health. He and Emma frequently clashed. While she prioritized patient well-being, he viewed medicine as a lucrative business. One autumn morning, Emma encountered a wounded homeless man rushed to the emergency room. His eyes were filled with pain, and his body was covered in sores. Emma didn't hesitate. Against David's wishes, who insisted the hospital couldn't afford the cost of free treatment, she decided to operate on the man. In the operating room, Emma was in her element. Her hands moved with precision, each incision made with the certainty of someone who understood the fragility of life. Emma's eyes revealed a mix of concentration and compassion, reflecting the complexity of her emotions. The surgery was long and exhausting but successful. When she finally left the operating room, she was exhausted but satisfied. She had saved a life, and that was all that mattered. However, David was furious. He called Emma into his office and with a cold demeanor said, "Emma, your disobedience was the last straw. We can't sustain such attitudes here. You're fired." Emma was shocked but not surprised. She knew her actions would have consequences, but never regretted helping someone in need. She left the hospital with her head held high, determined to find a way to continue her mission of helping others. That same night, sitting on her apartment's balcony, Emma felt the weight of her decision. She thought of her mother, her harsh words, and the unmet expectations. But she also thought of the life she had saved. She knew that, somehow, her choice would make a difference. As Emma faced her own battles, a series of events began to unfold that would change her destiny. At the Department of Health, Michael, a dedicated executive known for his integrity, was dealing with profound pain, the loss of his father. Missing for years, his father, John, was a constant reminder of uncertainty and pain. Michael, a 35-year-old man with brown hair and a determined look, devoted his life to his work, honoring his father's memory. He was respected for his ethics and commitment, but few knew the torment he carried in his heart. One morning, while reviewing reports in his office, Michael received an unexpected call. "Mr. Michael, we found a man at a charity hospital. He had no identification, but we believe he might be your father." Michael's heart raced. He rushed to the hospital with a mix of hope and fear. Upon arriving at the hospital, he found a frail man with unmistakable features of his father. John was disoriented but alive. Michael's emotions were overwhelming. "Dad, it's me, Michael, I'm here." John looked at him, eyes filled with tears, trying to recognize the son he hadn't seen in so long. As John recovered his consciousness and began to remember his life, Michael learned the story of the surgeon who had saved his father. "It was a doctor named Emma," said the nurse. "She operated on him against the director's wishes and got fired for it." Michael felt a profound sense of gratitude and indignation. How could someone so altruistic be treated so unjustly? He decided he couldn't let this pass. With the weight of his position in the department, he began investigating Emma's case and discovered more than he expected. Determined to right the wrong against Emma, Michael began gathering information about David, the hospital director. In his investigations, he uncovered a disturbing pattern of corruption and embezzlement. David had not only fired Emma for selfish reasons, but was also involved in illegal activities that harmed the hospital and its patients. With this information, Michael prepared a detailed dossier and sought out Emma. Finding her wasn't difficult, as she had started working as a volunteer at a charity clinic, still determined to help those in need. When Michael entered the small clinic, he found Emma treating a child with a deep cut on his arm. Her care and dedication were evident. "Emma?" he called a bit hesitantly. She looked up, surprised to see a stranger in an impeccable suit in such a humble setting. "Yes, that's me. Can I help you?" she replied, standing to greet him. "My name is Michael. I'm from the Department of Health. We need to talk. It's about the man you operated on recently." Emma felt a chill down her spine. Had she done something wrong? But Michael's eyes showed a kindness that reassured her. "Please, follow me," she said, leading him to a private room. Michael explained everything about his father, John, the gratitude he felt, and the discoveries he had made about David. Emma listened attentively, anger and frustration bubbling up inside her as she heard about David's corrupt actions. "I knew he was problematic, but I had no idea of the extent," said Emma, her face showing the determination of a warrior. "What can we do?" Michael smiled. "We will expose David and demand his removal. And Emma, you will be reinstated. Your work is vital, and the healthcare system needs people like you." As Emma and Michael planned their strategy to expose David, a relationship of respect and admiration began to blossom between them. Emma saw in Michael a powerful and honest ally, someone who shared her passion for helping others. Michael, in turn, was impressed by Emma's courage and commitment. The dossier prepared by Michael was irrefutable. It included evidence of embezzlement, testimonies from hospital staff, and documents proving David's corruption. With everything ready, they decided to take the case public. Michael used his position at the Department of Health to call a press conference. Emma stood by his side, nervous but determined. "Let's do this," said Michael, briefly holding her hand for strength. At the press conference, Michael presented the evidence against David. The room was filled with journalists, cameras, and microphones. "We are here today to expose a grave injustice and an act of corruption that cannot be ignored," Michael began. "Dr. Emmas, a dedicated and brilliant surgeon, was unjustly fired after saving the life of a man who we now know is my father, John." Emma felt everyone's eyes on her, but stood firm. Michael continued, detailing David's corrupt actions and calling for a thorough investigation. The response was immediate. The media embraced the story, and the pressure on the hospital increased rapidly. Within days, David was suspended, and a formal investigation was initiated. With David removed, Emma was reinstated at St. Raphael Hospital. The news of her reinstatement was met with joy by many colleagues who admired her work and ethics. However, Emma knew there was still much to be done to restore trust in the hospital's administration and ensure corruption didn't return. Michael continued to support Emma, and the two began spending more time together, both professionally and personally. They found comfort and strength in each other, and a deep friendship began to turn into something more. One day, while walking in the park after a long day at work, Michael stopped and looked at Emma with an intensity that made her stop as well. "Emma, since I met you, my life has changed in ways I never imagined. You have shown me the true meaning of dedication and compassion. I want to be by your side, not just at work, but in everything." Emma felt her heart beat faster. There was an honesty and vulnerability in Michael's words that touched her deeply. "Michael, I feel the same way. You brought hope and justice to my life when I needed it most." They moved closer and for the first time, kissed. It was a moment of pure connection, a sign that they were ready to face the future together. As Emma and Michael strengthened their relationship, Michael's father, John, continued to recover. Gradually, he began to remember his past, the circumstances that led him to live on the streets, and most importantly, his family. John revealed he had been the victim of a financial scam that left him with nothing, forcing him to live as a homeless man. Shame and despair prevented him from seeking help. Over time, he lost contact with everyone, including Michael. But now, with the support of his son and Emma, he was determined to rebuild his life. Michael and Emma decided it was time for John to come home. They organized a special dinner, inviting close friends and colleagues to celebrate John's recovery and the new chapter in their lives. During the dinner, John gave an emotional speech. "I am deeply grateful to all of you, especially Emma, for giving me a second chance. I have learned that true wealth lies in the people we love and the actions we take to help others. Michael, my son, you are my greatest blessing and I am proud of you." Emma and Michael exchanged looks filled with emotion. They knew that moment was just the beginning of a new journey. As months passed, Emma and Michael began planning their wedding. They wanted a simple ceremony surrounded by friends and family, celebrating the love and resilience that united them. They decided to hold the ceremony in the hospital garden, a symbol of where it all began. While organizing the preparations, Emma received an unexpected visit in her office. It was her mother, Helen. With a serious expression, she said, "Emma, can we talk?" Emma felt a mix of emotions. Her relationship with her mother had always been complicated, but she knew it was a necessary conversation. "Of course, Mom. Come in." Helen sat down, looking around, clearly impressed by the hospital environment. "I heard about everything you did, Emma. And about what happened with David. I learned about your work here, your dedication. I was wrong. I wanted you to follow in my footsteps, but I see now that you found your own path." Emma felt tears forming in her eyes. "Mom, all I ever wanted was to help people. And despite everything, I never stopped loving you." Helen held Emma's hand. "I never stopped loving you either, my daughter. I want to be a part of your life. I want to support you, and I would love to be by your side at your wedding." Emma hugged her mother, feeling the weight of years of tension and unmet expectations melting away. "I would love that, Mom." The wedding day arrived. The hospital garden was beautifully decorated with colorful flowers, and an atmosphere of love and joy filled the air. Emma wore a simple yet elegant dress, and Michael was impeccable in a blue suit. John, now healthy and happy, stood by Michael's side, proudly smiling. Helen was there, standing beside Emma, emotional and radiant. Friends, colleagues, and patients whom Emma had helped over the years were present, witnessing the union of two souls who had faced so many adversities. When Emma and Michael exchanged vows, there was a moment of reverent silence followed by applause and tears of joy. "Emma, you are my inspiration, my love, and my strength. I promise to support and love you in every moment," said Michael, his voice choked with emotion. "Michael, you brought justice and hope to my life. I promise to love you and walk by your side always," Emma replied, her eyes shining with emotion. They kissed, sealing their union, as the guests applauded and celebrated. The party that followed was a vibrant celebration of love, friendship, and new beginnings. Emma and Michael danced together, laughing and sharing moments of pure happiness. With David removed and a new administration taking over the hospital, Emma began to implement significant changes. Focused on improving the quality of care and ensuring all patients, regardless of their financial status, received the best possible care, she became a respected and admired leader. Michael, on the other hand, used his position at the Department of Health to support initiatives that promoted integrity and efficiency in the healthcare system. Together, they formed a powerful duo, working tirelessly to transform the reality around them. One afternoon, while reviewing documents in her office, Emma received an anonymous letter. "I have information about a network of corruption that involves more people than just David. I need your help to expose this." The letter included details only an insider would know. Emma showed the letter to Michael, and together they decided to investigate. They knew exposing this network would be dangerous, but they were determined to eliminate the corruption that threatened the healthcare system's integrity. Emma and Michael began working in secret, gathering information and evidence about the corruption network. They used contacts inside and outside the hospital to obtain documents and testimonies. It was meticulous and risky work, but both were committed to making a difference. As the investigations progressed, they discovered the corruption network was more extensive than they had imagined, involving influential politicians and business people. The revelations were shocking, and Emma and Michael knew they needed to act quickly to ensure the information reached the proper authorities without being intercepted. They decided to take the case to the press, knowing public exposure would be the best way to ensure authorities acted. Working with a trusted investigative journalist, they prepared an explosive report that would be published simultaneously across various media outlets. When the report aired, the impact was immediate. The media widely covered the scandal, and the authorities had no choice but to act. Arrests were made, and a federal investigation was launched to dismantle the corruption network. Emma and Michael, though relieved by the success of their mission, knew their lives would never be the same. They received threats and needed police protection, but never regretted their actions. They were closer than ever, ready to face any challenge together. St. Raphael Hospital underwent a complete overhaul with new policies and an administration committed to transparency and ethics. Emma was appointed medical director, a position that allowed her to implement even more positive changes. Over time, Emma and Michael's lives began to return to normal. The threat of corruption had been neutralized, and the hospital was functioning better than ever. They continued to work together, supporting each other in their respective careers. Emma became pregnant, and the news brought a new wave of joy to their lives. Michael was ecstatic, and John, now fully recovered and active, was eager to become a grandfather. The family was growing, and with it, love and hope. During a routine checkup, Emma discovered she was expecting twins. The news was met with excitement, and Michael couldn't have been happier. They began preparing the nursery, choosing each detail with care. The months passed, and Emma gave birth to 2 healthy boys. The arrival of the twins was a moment of celebration for the entire family. John, moved, held his grandsons in his arms and said, "These boys are a miracle, a symbol of all we have overcome." Emma and Michael were exhausted but happy. Life with the twins was hectic, but every smile and laugh brought indescribable joy. The love they felt for each other only grew stronger, and together, they faced the challenges of parenthood with courage and determination. As they balanced their careers and new life with the twins, Emma and Michael continued to make a difference in the community. Emma implemented training programs at the hospital for young doctors, promoting a culture of compassion and excellence. Michael, in turn, used his position to advocate for health policies that benefited the most vulnerable. He and Emma were often invited to speak at conferences and events, sharing their experiences and inspiring others to fight for a fairer and more effective healthcare system. Years passed, and the twins grew up in a home full of love and learning. Emma and Michael taught them the importance of integrity, compassion, and justice. John, now a proud grandfather, shared his stories and experiences, passing on wisdom and strength to the new generation. Emma continued to innovate at the hospital, now considered a model of excellence in medical care. Michael was promoted to a prominent position at the Department of Health, where he continued to influence policies and practices that benefited millions of people. On the 20th anniversary of the founding of Hope and Life, Emma and Michael were honored in an emotional ceremony. Friends, family, and colleagues gathered to celebrate their achievements and the positive impact they had on so many lives. Emma, now with grey hair but the same sparkle in her eyes, gave a touching speech. "This work is a testament to what we can achieve when we unite with a common purpose. I thank all of you for the support and love that made all this possible." Michael, by her side, held her hand and added, "The journey continues, and together, we will continue to fight for a world where everyone has access to the care and dignity they deserve." As life went on, Emma and Michael continued to face challenges, but always with the same determination and courage that brought them together. They faced health issues, economic crises, and social changes, but never lost hope. The twins, now adults, followed in their parents' footsteps, dedicating themselves to social causes and medicine. The united and strong family was an example of resilience and unconditional love. Emma and Michael, now in their golden years, decided it was time to pass the baton. They trained new leaders for hope and life and prepared for a quieter life, but never completely distanced from the causes they held so dear. They moved to a small house in the countryside, where they could appreciate nature and enjoy moments of peace and reflection. Their visits to the hospital and the organization continued, but now as mentors and advisors. In their final years, Emma and Michael reflected on their lives with gratitude. They had built a loving family, transformed a hospital, and founded an organization that continued to do good. Most importantly, they had touched many lives, leaving a legacy of compassion and justice. One morning, while watching the sunrise, Emma held Michael's hand and said, "Our journey has been incredible. We made a difference, and the love we shared was the greatest gift of all." Michael smiled and replied, "And it will continue to be, Emma. The love and justice we planted will continue to grow and flourish." And so, Emma and Michael, with hearts full of love and satisfaction, embraced the peace and serenity of a life well lived, knowing their legacy would endure for generations.